Hello guys, this is Revolution. So on this video we are going to be discussing the upcoming Dragon Ball Super Broly movie. It's just over a few months away now. It's getting close. I can smell it and I cannot wait. I'm completely hyped. The big question is, who will ultimately defeat Broly in this movie? Will it be Frieza, Goku, Vegeta, or will we see something else occur in the Dragon Ball Super Broly movie that will ultimately lead to Broly's demise? Could it be fusion? Could we see Gogeta, potentially even Vegito? Or will it be Ultra Instinct? Goku's latest and greatest transformation, a mind state of being transformation that ultimately toppled even the absolute powerhouse during the Grand Tournament of Power. But predominantly in this video we'll be talking about why, based on all the information we have of Metamoran fusion that ultimately leads to Gotenks and Gogeta, why Gogeta Blue will not be able to defeat Broly in the upcoming movie, but Ultra Instinct might. So just before we begin, quick question: if we do see Gogeta in this upcoming movie, and there's been a lot of hints that we may do, which would you prefer to see Gogeta use against Broly? Would you rather him see Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken or Super Saiyan Blue Evolution? Drop your thoughts and reasons why down in the comment section. Whilst you're doing that, if you're not subscribed to the channel and you love Dragon Ball content, whether that be power scaling, verse battles, theories, updates, news or breakdowns, this is the channel for you. Make sure you hit that subscribe button to be notified whenever I release new content. Keep lending me your energy, keep smashing that like button. Every like truly is appreciated. So will we see Gogeta in this upcoming movie? There's been a lot indicating that it could potentially be the chance. Of course, there's been the re-release of Fusion Reborn, which features Gogeta alongside the re-release of the Broly movie, or should I say remastering of those movies, that has led to a lot of people in the fandom believing there is a link between them and that Gogeta and Broly will both be in the upcoming Broly movie. We know Broly is confirmed, but Gogeta has had no confirmation as of yet. And it's not just that as well, it's the fact that Gogeta has also been promoted quite heavily in the recent Dragon Ball Heroes card games, etc. And Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2's latest updates features some interesting insights into the update of Gogeta's character. And then of course the fact that Goku just looks absolutely terrified of Broly when Broly's rising from the ground with those red eyes in the Dragon Ball Super Broly trailer. So it's led a lot of people to basically speculate on what kind of power will be needed to topple Broly. Obviously Gogeta is definitely an option, even though we've never actually seen Gogeta in the Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball Super mainstream continuity. We have however seen Gogeta in the Dragon Ball Z movies, Fusion Reborn against the powerful Janemba, and we also saw him in Dragon Ball GT when we got Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, who was an absolute animal. So obviously the Dragon Ball Z movies as well as Dragon Ball GT were both produced by Toei, not by Akira Toriyama himself or Shueisha Studios for that matter. And what we can deduct from that is, well, they're not part of the mainstream continuity. In fact, Akira Toriyama did confirm this in an interview once, where he says that the Dragon Ball Z movies are kind of like a different dimension version of Dragon Ball. However, it doesn't mean that Metamoran fusion is impossible. I personally feel it's unlikely because I cannot see Vegeta, who absolutely despises fusing, and yes, we saw him fuse before in Dragon Ball Super when they used Vegito Blue against Merge Zamasu, but just like against Super Buu, they were completely out of options. They literally had to fuse in that moment, and they had the Potara earrings in that moment. But for Metamoran fusion, you've got to learn a dance. Now, I'm not saying Vegeta couldn't pick this up quickly, but Vegeta, I cannot imagine it, and I'm sure you can't either, wanting to actually learn this dance. But Vegeta as a character is growing all the time, so maybe in this movie you'll have a change of heart, especially if Earth's in danger, especially if Bulma, Trunks and Bulla are all in danger. However, based on a lot of information we've got concerning Broly's potential power level in this movie, as well as the information we have on Metamoran fusion, it's actually hard to distinguish whether Metamoran fusion will actually be enough to take Broly down because of the implications of how to achieve Metamoran fusion. So let's take a look at that. So the Sakyo Jump editorial office have told us that Broly will be the strongest antagonist that Goku, Vegeta and the gang have ever come up against, and that anybody believing Goku will win may be disappointed. So basically, Goku's going to get mollywopped, and Goku's most powerful form right now is Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken times 20. Obviously, he achieved Ultra Instinct in the Tournament of Power, but as of episode 131, he said that right now, as of right now, he cannot access Ultra Instinct. That doesn't mean he never will be able to again, It's just that he doesn't have any idea of how to achieve it. It usually happens when he's pushed to his absolute limits. But ultimately what this tells us that Broly will be stronger than Jiren the Grey, who Goku fought against in the Tournament of Power. Now Jiren wasn't necessarily a villain, but he was the antagonist of that arc, and as we saw in the Tournament of Power, Jiren the Grey, just at full strength, not even awakened Jiren, was able to tank a final flash by Super Saiyan Blue Evolution Vegeta, a Kamehameha by Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken times 20 Goku, and an energy beam from the Infinity Energy Model Android 17. And it must be noted that both the Kamehameha and the Final Flash have been known to amp the user's power in the past. And I pretty much went through all this in a video called Why Ultra Instinct is at least 500 times Super Saiyan Blue, where we look at how Goku grew through power through the Tournament of Power and how his Ultra Instinct Omen stages granted him a certain level of power and so forth. But it's easy to determine that even fully powered Jiren from episode 127 and 128 was at least 100 times Super Saiyan Blue Goku at the end of the Tournament of Power. And then you can look at how the Spirit Bomb, which ultimately knocked out Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken times 20 Goku, so if you use the 2 times rule there, that's at least an equivalent to Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken times 40. Kefla was equivalent to that at least, and then she turned Super Saiyan 2 at least 2 times that. She would be equivalent to Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken times 80 in terms of raw power. Jiren was stronger than Kefla, so I'm hoping you get the drift. Jiren the Grey was stronger than Kefla at Super Saiyan 2. He barely batted an eyelid at her power. He was somewhat relevant to Ultra Instinct Omen Phase 3 Goku in episode 128. He was fighting pretty much on par with him. You could say Jiren was a little bit stronger, as you would have to be stronger than Ultra Instinct to compete with it. Regardless, that's all irrelevant because Goku evolved his Ultra Instinct Omen into Mastered Ultra Instinct or Complete Ultra Instinct, whatever you want to call it. And then Jiren awakened his true self and somehow managed to compete with Ultra Instinct, landing 6 blows on him in total until Goku used some sort of pure progress-like ability, which ultimately led him to victory. By the time you get to that second phase of Ultra Instinct, Goku's at least 500 times Super Saiyan Blue. Check out that video and let me know what you think on that video's comment section. But what I'm saying is, Ultra Instinct is insanely powerful and obviously also comes with the added ability of mastery of self-movement. And as we just discussed from the Sakio Jump editorial office, Broly is going to be stronger than awakened Jiren, which is what has basically led me to say I believe it will be Ultra Instinct that ultimately defeats Broly, and I'm not sure that Ultra Instinct will initially defeat Broly. I think Goku will have to truly master Ultra Instinct and be able to tap into Ultra Instinct at will to be able to defeat Broly. But I am not ruling Gogeta out because, as we learnt with the announcement of Broly, if it's within the framework of possibility, you should never rule anything out in Dragon Ball. So obviously Goku did grow in power throughout the Tournament of Power itself. However, some people are trying to say that Goku in base is as strong as Ultra Instinct Omen Phase 1 from the Dragon Ball Super Specials. Well, given that the Jump magazine have told us that Ultra Instinct Omen Phase 3 is relevant somewhat to Beerus, if not Mastered Ultra Instinct, but regardless, if Goku was as strong as that in his base, turning Super Saiyan would surpass Beerus in power. Whilst we're being told that Goku is closing in on the power of a God of Destruction, he hasn't caught that level yet nor surpassed it, and that's with Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken times 20, so I'm just not going to entertain that nonsense, to be honest. I digress. So obviously, if we are to see Gogeta, Goku and Vegeta are going to need to use Metamoran Fusion. They will need to be at a similar power level to be able to pull this off. They will most likely do this in Super Saiyan Blue, obviously creating Gogeta Blue. Obviously both Goku and Vegeta will be in Super Saiyan Blue anyway, so the transformation multiplier is irrelevant. You've got to look at what the extra power is granted by the fusion itself. And obviously, as mentioned earlier, Gogeta is essentially a Toei character, as he was in the movie Fusion Reborn and Dragon Ball GT Perfect files, which ultimately told us that the Metamoran Fusion granted a power boost of dozens of times. Now that could be anywhere from 24 times to 96 times. Some people argue that it could mean 120 times. The dozens of times multiplier, even if you say it's 96 times the original power of Super Saiyan Blue Goku, isn't going to be able to compete with somebody who is stronger than Jiren, who was at least 100 times stronger than Super Saiyan Blue Goku. In terms of power level, Gogeta just simply wouldn't be able to compete. However, he could potentially use the Kaioken times 20 or maybe even Blue Evolution, which would grant him a huge power hack. That might be a way around it, but even a Gogeta Blue time limit wouldn't last that long. According to the GT Perfect files, Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta only lasted approximately 10 minutes. Obviously you can argue about power differences between GT and Super, but ultimately it all serves the narrative and the plot. So regardless, based on the information we have, Gogeta would last less time than a base Gogeta, if you get my meaning, in a very similar fashion to how Vegeta Blue against Masu's time limit was dispersed simply because he used up so much power. So stacking the Kaioken, which is a very straining technique to use, will only shorten that time limit, and unless he pulls off a one-punch KO, it's not going to work, and neither would Blue Evolution. They would just simply time out, and that would be the same case for Blue Evolution, which was stated by the director from Dragon Ball Super episode 131 to be an equalizer to Goku Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken times 20. However, one thing I will say is this is based on the information we have from non-canon material to the mainstream canon material of Dragon Ball Super. Broly himself was originally a movie character, but they are repackaging him and basically amping his power many fold. They could do the same with Gogeta. They could ignore the information from the GT Perfect files and completely go a new way with Gogeta. So that's definitely a possibility. I wouldn't rule that out. But based on the information we have, Gogeta Blue stands no chance against Broly in this movie. Could we see Ultra Instinct Gogeta? I find that highly unlikely. Maybe, but I think we'll see Ultra Instinct Goku against Broly in this upcoming movie. We stated for Goku to achieve Ultra Instinct he needs to break through his shell, which was becoming harder and harder to do as he was acclimatizing to the situation he was in. But Broly is stronger than Jiren, so it would make sense that he would be able to push this shell even further than ever before. So who exactly will defeat Broly? In my humble opinion, it will most likely be Ultra Instinct Goku by mastering the technique and learning to tap into it at will. I wouldn't rule out fusion, I just find it highly unlikely. Or it could be that Broly just destroys himself. If you go by what the manga said about the Legendary Super Saiyan transformation, that may be a hint, and maybe it will just keep growing in power until he self-destructs. If that's the case, Universe 7's in trouble. Anyway guys, let me know what you guys think on this. Do you think Gogeta stands a chance? Do you think I'm wrong on this matter? That's fine. Do keep lending me your energy and smashing that like button. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Until next time, Ad Astra.